Godzilla Minus One Minus Color is the re release of the best movie, the objectively best movie of 2023, Godzilla Minus One, except in monochrome. Now, if you've been following the channel, you know how much I've been raving about Godzilla Minus One. I have just been raving about it all throughout December. It's a movie that hit me in ways I was not expecting and still does even to this day. Before I saw Minus One Minus Color, I had already seen Godzilla Minus One 8 times total, 6 times in a movie theater, 2 times in a private screener. And seeing the black and white version, I understand a lot of people are going to look at it and say, well, if I already saw it in color, what's the point of seeing it in black and white? We're going to go over that here in a minute, but I want to elaborate on this. Godzilla Minus One was supposed to be a 2 week thing back in December, and it wound up being in theaters even to this day. My local theater, and not everybody has this, but my local theater is still showing the colored version and the black and white version. But for a lot of other movie theaters, they only had the movie for a month. Some only had it for a few days or a few weeks because it's a foreign film, and because of that, a lot of people may have missed their chance to see Godzilla Minus One in the movie theater. And I have been screaming at people to see this movie in a movie theater. The surround sound is the best sound engineering I've heard in films in a long, long time. It is visually stunning. The seeing the massive giant lizard and seeing all the things he does on the big screen, it just can't be replicated at home. It just can't, unless you're like a multi millionaire who has a built-in, like, literal theater in your home. I have a home theater set up in the living room with a surround sound and a big TV. It's still not enough compared to the movie theater. Nothing ever is, but this is a movie that must be experienced. So if you haven't seen Godzilla Minus One yet, the minus color version is a perfect way to go see it. Now, I want you to understand what they did with this movie. Takashi Yamazaki, this movie was released not only to let people see it who hadn't seen it yet and to give a different experience, but to pay tribute because now we're in 2024. It's 70 years since the original Gojira, and the original 1954 Godzilla movie Gojira is in black and white. And in some ways, and this is something that's hard to explain unless you've watched a lot of black and white movies, black and white movies, when it comes to horror, are oftentimes a bit scarier. The original Gojira being black and white actually helps it be scarier because you can't really see a clear picture of Godzilla. You see sort of shadows and stuff like that. The way it's shot, you sort of, they're able to play with your visuals a lot more with black and white because they can hide things better. And it's one of the reasons as to why Gareth Edwards in 2014's Godzilla chose to keep Godzilla at night. Granted, I think that hurt that movie overall. He was going for that effect, and it's hard to do. With this version of Minus One, Yamazaki went in there and instead of just turning the color option off like you can do on your monitor, on your TV, on your phone, he didn't do that. Instead, what he did was he went frame by frame, him and his team, and actually supervised how to properly monochrome the film from the original source. So the reason why this is important is because it does give it a totally different experience as if you are watching a movie in black and white. It's as if you're watching a movie that was meant to be seen in black and white because when you see something in color, sometimes colors, when you monochrome them, don't look the same as far as brightness goes. For example, when Godzilla's tail starts to light up in this film, in the Minus One version, they had to add more brightness to that so that it had more of an impact. Because if you just have the blue that was in the original just turned black and white, it's going to have more of a gray color. It just won't look the same. It's kind of like if you read manga and then you switch over to like the color pages of manga, you'll notice some differences there on how it's sort of structured. Same kind of idea here. But Minus One Minus Color on the surface will seem like something that's only for like the hardcore Godzilla fan or the hardcore fan of Minus One or the hardcore fan of film that can appreciate black and white. Let's just be honest here. Most people don't appreciate black and white. Even I sometimes have to be in the right frame of mind to watch a black and white movie, whether it be a Hitchcock movie or whether it be something like, Yojimbo or a Kurosawa film or even 1954's Godzilla. and you have to be in a certain mood. What I found interesting about this experience is that I have seen this movie so many times in color that my brain, this is gonna sound weird unless you've seen a movie in color a lot, but like, and then you see it in black and white. My brain kind of readjusted it back to color. That's weird, isn't it? Like, it's almost like I could see the colors in my head, even though I know they weren't there, because I have seen the movie so much. But the film overall is essentially the same story. Yamazaki did not add in any deleted scenes or, reshoot things from different angles. It's not that. It's the same film shot for shot, except that it's been monochrome to perfection for a black and white screening. It's meant to give you that vibe. And the reality is, it does work in some scenes. Specifically, the early attack on Oda Island. Godzilla's early attack, where it's really dark, is scarier in this version, significantly so. It's more horrifying in this version. I almost wish they would do a Wizard of Oz cut where you have like the opening shot on Oda Island being black and white and then it goes into color later. That would be an awesome experience. I'm sure somebody out there will do that at some point. You know what I mean? Because then it's like you still get the horrifying darkness of the black and white version with, of course, the later on when you see Godzilla in daylight, it's brighter and, easier to see. But you can actually see the differences in the lighting if you look at each individual scene. Like, for example, the scene when they're being chased by Godzilla in the water, right? That scene where Godzilla looks different in the black and white version as far as how they lit him, and that's what they can do with a good editor and some time. So I did enjoy this experience, but I will say it might not be for everyone. I feel like if you're one of those people that just has to see things in color, your brain just can't handle black and white for whatever reason, maybe it's best if you can try to see the colored version if it's still out there to go see it. But if you've already seen Godzilla Minus One, you want a little bit of a different experience. It's still got the same sound, same wonderful acting, same amazing music from Naoki Sato. Like, it's still the same greatness. It's just a new coat of paint, literally, on here. I don't know about it being the superior version. I've seen some people online discuss it. I know Chris Stuckman said so, that he thinks it's a superior version of Minus One. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet, because I thought the colors in Minus One were really good. I mean, it's one thing if Minus One was kind of like a dreary, kind of poorly paletted kind of film, but the colors in it look great. And when I watch it in 4K at home, whenever that comes out, I'll be watching it in color, although I do hope sincerely that they put the monochrome version, the minus color version, on the 4K. I really hope we get the option to do both, just because that would be cool to kind of be able to switch between the two. I probably would still watch it mostly color, but the black and white experience in a movie theater is one that I won't forget. And even though it wasn't the first time I saw it, I always love this movie, and I always will, because it's just that damn good. So those are my thoughts on Minus One, Minus Color. Go see it if you want a different type of experience, if you love Minus One. And if you haven't seen it yet and you want to see it in color, and you can, do that as well. I've said a lot of nice things about this movie and made tons of videos on it, so you should know my opinion by now. Anyways, this was good. Take care.